Sir, yeah. I think other people will join.
Professor Roy is joining.
ঢুকে গেছি
Okay, thank you, Didi. Thank you. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone.
So should we start?
Yes, I think
Okay.
so.
Yes, we
Everyone's
can
there.
start. Yes, we will start. Hello and welcome to all the guests. Our society started its journey 2 years back on 2nd October 2020 amidst all the odds of the pandemic worldwide. With the constant support and guidance from our esteemed members, we have been able to complete our journey of 2 years and reach our destination where we stand today. And here we are celebrating the second foundation day of our society. It also happens to be the year in which marks 100th year of discovery of Harappan civilization. Hence, we have all gathered here today at the very onset of a 2-day international conference. Now, I would request our president, Professor Durga Basu. She is a former professor of Department of Archaeology, Calcutta University, and former syndicate and senate member of the same university. Ma'am, I would request you to present the welcome address.
Thank you, Ashmita. Good afternoon, everybody. At the very outset, I pay my heartfelt thanks to all of you for your kind presence here. As you know that we have organized an international seminar for 2 days to celebrate our second Foundation Day, and at the same time to celebrate the 100 years of the discovery of Harappan civilization. Today we have with us some renowned scholars from various parts of our country and abroad. It gives me an immense pleasure to start this memorable occasion by heartily welcoming everybody. It is our great pleasure to have with us Professor Ranjana Ray, President of this occasion. Professor Ray, Emeritus Professor, Department of Anthropology, Calcutta University. She is one of the esteemed advisory members of our society, SHAM. We also get her untiring support and guidance always. We welcome Professor Roy to preside this occasion. Today we have another renowned archaeologist of India, Dr. Phonikanto Mishra, former director of Eastern India ASI, Eastern Circle. Now he is the director of Heritage Cell, Macau. He is our esteemed keynote speaker. My heartiest welcome you to Dr. Mishra. It is a great privilege to have with us two esteemed scholars from abroad. These two great archaeologists are the authority of their own in the field of archaeology remain unparalleled. I am deeply honored to welcome Dr. Sergiu Musteata from Republic of Moldova. He is the project director at the Ion Creanga Pedagogical State University in Moldova. I am also delighted to welcome Professor Swadhin Sen from Bangladesh. He is a renowned scholar and field archaeologist in Bangladesh. It is our pleasure to welcome Professor Sen in this occasion. We are also very happy to have with us Professor Renu Thakur
places like Buktipara in Hooghly district, also taken this endeavor to launch its e-journal, which is now an ISSN recognized e-journal, and it is enlisted and indexed in reputed databases like Google Scholar, JGet, and so on. Society has organized various national webinar on excavations and explorations. Recent Trends was organized in the year 2021. Then we moved on to organizing the Foundation Day National Webinar last year. And this year we have come up with the 2-day international conference. In the meantime, society has also participated at the World Heritage Week celebration organized by Kolkata Center for Creativity. And on the theme Intangible Cultural Heritage displayed through the festivities of Durga Puja. Very recently on this theme, society has published its first monograph, Durga Mohishashura Mordini, a lesser known tale of traditions, culture, and worship. So, I again thank you all for being with us and would expect all of you to Thank you. Now I represent Professor, Department of Anthropology, Calcutta University, and the organized on these 2 days.
Organizing course. It is an honor and privilege to speak about the today is the first day of the 2-day international conference organized by the Society Archaeology and SHAM. Theme of session in Indian subcontinent number of quite independent cultures. Rather, the increase in size of institutions of tribute or taxation, resulting in writing that foreign trade full-time technical specialists instead of prehistoric times. Humans were hunter-gatherers and they learned the domestication of plants and animals in Neolithic period. The kind of life developed by early humans was largely the result of the climatic conditions under which he had to live. Naturally very different areas in urbanization of natural conditions surrounding them. There are plenty of factors besides the climatic conditions that tend to modify the mode of life ways he developed at any given time and in any given place. By the third millennium BC, the great Harappan civilization in the Indus Valley had arisen with its large and important cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. In order to make the intensive agricultural production possible, humans in the region needed to solve the problems of reliable water resources. That solution took the form of irrigation, which developed in the most significant early stage in the history of science and technology. The development of settled agriculture led not only to changes in diet and the adoption of a sedentary lifestyle, but also to significant changes in human social organization. Archaeologists and anthropologists have cause and effect relationship between the agriculture and urbanization. One way in which agriculture affected history and cultural history by changing the role assumed by men and women farming communities. The stratification that characterizes sedentary societies. The emergence of urbanization went hand in hand with the rise of the first organized religions. These beliefs of systems centered on the worship deities identified with the forces of like sun, rain, and wind that dictated the success or failure of agricultural efforts and which have bodies such as the moon. Neochalcolithic and Chalcolithic life continued in different of the country. These were agriculture that was said to divert. They cultivated crops and also animals. Stone tools objects were used. Population shifted to the rural areas and the in which societies adapt to may move to the because they are from rural economy. They urbanization. There was also economic effects. Environment urbanization in the Indian subcontinent will be presented, covering the wide aspects of urbanization of Harappa as well as its rural backdrop, urban space, colonial administration, socio-political and cultural dynamics of religion, cultural life ways of colonial period, Buddhism, emergence of state capitals and urbanization. The conference is very much multidisciplinary in nature. Experts from different disciplines like archaeologists, pre-government officials, and freelance researchers will contribute their in-depth knowledge of urbanization. Scholars from abroad also will share their valuable knowledge about urbanization and growth of cities. These discussions may help to shed light on different hidden factors of growth of urbanization, ethnic migration, and debatable matters like Aryan invasion and East-West controversy regarding the emergence of civilization. We are eagerly waiting for the valuable talks from distinguished speakers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now, before we move on to the keynote address, I would like to add a point that this year we have introduced Professor Amita Roy Memorial Award, which would be given to the best young scholar for his or her research presentation. And we have the different merits. Now, moving on to the keynote address, we have with us today Dr. Panikanto Mishra, sir. He is currently working as a director, Heritage Cell, Macaut, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, University of Technology, Kolkata. He is also attached with Archaeological Survey of India, Regional Director. He is also a member of Board of Directors in various institutes and universities, such as University, Institute of Business Management and Research. He has done a commendable work on a book entitled Rakhal Das Banerjee, Time, Life, and Achievements of Forgotten Archaeologists. Thank you, sir. Now we would request Anish to deliver his. Dr. Mishra, am I audible?
Yes, you are, but
Dr. Mishra?
You should be it's muted.
Dr. Mishra, you are muted. We can't hear you.
Right. Is it okay now?
Yes, sir.
Welcome,
Yes, sir. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Asmita, for giving a small brief introduction about me. I'm Director of Heritage Cell Scholars in Kolkata. But today, Professor Durga Basu has at least given me this space to speak a keynote address on the topic. My address, I don't know, would be very interesting or not, because Devashish Mandal has spoken a lot of things about it. But for me, it is very interesting to meet you all over here. I am very grateful to Professor Durga Basu and all the scholars here. She has been very kind to me, and she has been always inviting me. She is the board of studies of Macaut Heritage Cell, and she has been helping us a lot. As you all know that we have a course here in Heritage Cell, that is Heritage Management and Conservation. We have around 28 students education. We have many professors from IM, we have many professors from Techno India, we have so many students, archaeology students and all. So just a brief introduction I just gave you. So let us speak further. Society for Heritage, Archaeology and Management second Foundation Day we are celebrating here. And we are celebrating 100 years discovery of Harappan civilization. It's a privilege for me to be part of it and will be speaking to you about urbanization in Indian subcontinent, Harappan to British period. Professor Durga Basu has given me a very lengthy topic which may cover 3 days, 4 days also. If I speak on it, I don't think it will end. But I have condensed it because yesterday evening she told me that you have to speak maximum 1 hour. After that, so many other scholars would be there to listen others' lecture also. So I have cut short my lectures and I will be just discussing few points over here because very eminent scholars are before me. I am seeing Professor Renu Thakur, Professor Sapna Chakraborty, Banani, whom I just discuss so many things every now and then. Either she is in office or she is in at home. I ask Banani, tell me how are we going? Are we on right track and all? She gives me lot of suggestions. Then Professor Bhattacharya, my colleague of Archaeological Survey of India, Mr. Ghoshal, and Tapan, who have been a very good conservator of ASI. So all of you are here. So first, what I want to discuss over here, that urbanization part, how archaeologists or others thought that we should take up from the Harappan civilization. Sometimes when I think about it, don't we feel that urbanization part started during the Neolithic settlement or even bit early than that? Because we are seeing that in the rock cut caves also, the natural caves also, the society had come. There was an article which I was reading recently from a prehistorian of UK, he has mentioned that he feels that prehistoric culture at the end had their urban mind, had their urban phase. They have started painting, they have started having the floors, they have started making good tools, they have started making microliths, etc. So, anyway, we will not go in that confusion at the moment. What I would be speaking, which most of you would be knowing about it, that urbanization, as we all know, is the process by which rural communities grow to form cities or urban centers, and by extension, the growth and expansion of those cities. Urbanization became in ancient Mesopotamia in the Uruk period, that is 4,300 and 3,100 C. But scholars have different reason to agree upon it. Urbanization began in India. We can go with the archaeological excavations which revealed early urban settlements in the upper Ganges Yamuna. Doab began in Harappan period. In the middle Ganges basin, urbanization began at the beginning of second millennium BC. But recently, Banani gave me an interesting information, which I went through it, that spokes wheels have been recovered from Dhirana in Haryana, and that is the earliest Harappan site of Indian subcontinent, which is dating back to 4 millennium BC. Earliest farming communities, so far what we were knowing, was Mehergarh. It came from the west of the Indus system. Mehergarh in the northeastern Baluchistan was the first village to witness the beginning of agriculture in India in the 5th millennium BC. They cultivated barley and wheat. Neolithic revolution, roughly 8,000 to 4,000 BC, agro-pastoralism in India included threshing, planting crops in rows, either of 2 or of 6, and storing grain in granaries. 5th millennium BC, we find agricultural communities became widespread in Kashmir. Irrigation was developed in the Indus Valley civilization by around 4,500 BC. The size and prosperity of the Indus civilization grew as a result of this innovation, which eventually led to more planned settlements, making use of drainage and sewers. Sophisticated irrigation and water storage systems were developed in Indus Valley civilization. Ceramics was another development which was introduced. Pottery has been discovered in early villages of Mehergarh, dating back to the Indus Valley civilization. Black and redware pottery, black on redware and ochre-colored pottery, Vedic age, we get painted grayware, NBP, and megalithic pottery found in Kerala. Potteries in Indus Valley were used for 3 main purposes, mainly storage of grains and water. Indus civilization, the earliest known urban culture of India, would like to tell that ecological conditions of the upper Saraswati basin played a significant role in the origin and development of settled way of life for earlier farming communities, which ultimately led to the foundation of the first urbanized civilization, the Harappan civilization. As we know, the cities of the Sindhu-Saraswati civilization was the first wave of that the Indian subcontinent experienced. After the decline of these urban centers, the subcontinent witnessed its second phase of urbanization, but this time its geographical location was the Ganga Valley. The second urbanization, which began in 6th century BC, reached its apex under the reigns of the Mauryan rulers. During the Kushan era, cities such as Mathura grew into full-fledged urban areas. 1st century to 3rd century BCE. The third urbanization to the early medieval phase of urban growth, instead of posting genesis of new institutional type as a counter formation to the earlier pattern, seeks to underline the crucial nature of change in the urban tradition. The golden age, which I always say in my school, college days, I was also working with this, that what was the golden age for the urbanization in India? I feel the golden age of urbanization in India was during the classical period. Various parts of India were ruled by numerous dynasties, including the Gupta Empire in the 4th, 6th century AD, the period witnessing a Hindu religious and intellectual resurgence. This is very important to note, that Hindu religions and intellectual resurgence is known as classical or golden age. Greatest achievements were made during this time only. Mankind lived in a better time and was pure. Going ahead, we come to early medieval India, and we, at the beginning of the medieval era, due to political conditions, a trade commerce began to expand. The areas that lay along the major travel routes or near rivers or fertile land began to develop in urban centers. Urban centers in medieval period was surrounded by agricultural land. Farmers and laborers usually resided near or outside the town, were inhabited. The areas within the wall of a town were inhabited by artisans of different castes engaged in handicrafts and other works. The medieval urbanization is usually defined functionally based upon the presence of certain urban characteristics, such as settlements having a greater population, size, and density, a high proportion of economic activities based on consumption and production, and high levels of administrative status and provision. Medieval urban settlements were more or less centers of commerce, manufacture, and innovation, possessed long-range trade networks, and had recognizable divisions of labor. Urbanization process was divided into 4 stages. One was initial stage, second was acceleration stage, third was declaration stage, and the last was terminal stage. Various causes of urbanization during that time was industrialization, commercialization, social benefits and services, employment opportunities, modernization, and changes in the mode of living, rural-urban transformation. Economic, political, and social issues are the causes of urbanization during British rule. In the early years of British occupation in India, the de-urbanization was seen as British occupation in India were the change in the method of trading as well as decline in the demand of products. British influence to urbanization scenes in India was emergence of 3 metropolitan port cities which emerged as leading colonial cities, that was Calcutta, Bombay, Madras. Second, creation of hill stations and plantation settlements. Third, modification of urban landscape in existing cities. Fourth, introduction of civil lines, camps, and cantonments. Fifth, improvement in connectivity through railways. Enhanced scope of industrialization. Seventh, improvement in urban amenities and urban administration. What is very hurried and brief and running, I have concluded that British era had both positive and negative impact, but the extent of positive changes is more. The process of urbanization and building of new cities can be seen as the breaking of the continuum. During British period, the Indian cities emerged as the focal points of urbanization and westernization. The westernization brought by the British period continued to guide the destiny of urban cities in India. It helped in transforming the agriculture as a means of commerce by introducing new crops like indigo, tobacco, coffee, etc. India had a fundamental economic transition, mechanized industries, and developed connectivity through railways and foreign trade. But the British era did not consider the rural urban conflict, which increased the gap between urban and rural areas in India. Let us think about it that if we are going back to 500 years, 800 years, how we have settled the rural and urban impact in India. I think rural impact was left without giving much notice to it, without giving much importance to it, and urbanization developed in a very scanty form to very small areas. Otherwise, I feel that after the British period, we could have made rural and urban area in a joint factor with a joint works. Like now in present government, they have started using smart cities. There is very good decision which government of India is taking that they will develop the smart cities to the villages, to the rural areas, so that these rural areas become a place for urban settlement. So what is very important at the moment, seeing back to the history of the urbanization in India, we have to rethink about our settlement pattern, how best we can see that India, which is having maximum of villages, rural areas, how best they can be converted into urbanizations. Because back history we know, back details we know. So I will now request that a small, my PPT would be there. Can you start it? Can you show that? Can we come back to the PPT?
Yes, we are just starting with the PPT.
Okay, okay.
Please bear with us. There is some technical issue. Just we will start the PPT in just 2 minutes.
Okay, okay.
Is it visible?
Yes,
Yes.
it's visible.
Okay.
I just discussed with you the urbanization, the process by which large numbers of people became permanently concentrated in relatively small areas forming cities. It was not until the Neolithic period, beginning at roughly 10,000 BC, that humans were able to form small permanent settlements. As farming became more productive, it produced a surplus of food. The development of means of transportation dating from the invention of the wheel about 3500 BC made it possible for the surplus from the countryside to feed urban populations. Cities are more than 10,000 did not exist until the time of classical antiquity. In 1800, less than 3% of the world's population was living in cities of 20,000 or more. Next, the first urbanization we discussed in a brief, the earliest settled life in the upper Saraswati basin was the main source where the first urbanization started. It can be traced to near about the beginning of the Holocene period. The ecological condition of the upper Saraswati basin played a significant role in the origin and development of settled way of life for earlier farming communities that ultimately led to the foundation of the first urbanized civilization, the Harappan civilization. These rivers, Saraswati, Daswati, Satlaj, Yamuna, Sabhi, Gaggar, Markand, Tangri, and Kushkiputra, etc., might have played an important role. These rivers providing both a high quality agriculture lands and facilities of irrigation in addition to the provision of different varieties of wild plants and animals. The urbanized civilization in the Indian subcontinent. A large number of earlier settlements have been discovered in the upper Saraswati basin. It clearly indicates that this region was thickly populated from the times of early farming communities. From time to time, one sees the evidence that show the growth and development of these early village and agro-pastoral clans into settled ones, which further developed into the big cities of the first urbanized civilization. Here we are, the map showing us the details about the urban settlement, which was shown here with the distances of 100 kilometer, 200 kilometer, 300 kilometer, and 400 kilometer, 500 kilometers. Next. Chronology of first urbanization in the upper Saraswati basin, early Harappan period, early farming community, eastern Hakra phase, 4000, 3200 BC. Advanced village society, Sothi, Siswal phase, 3200 to 2600 BC. Mature Harappa period, urbanized period, 2600 to 1900 BC. Late Harappan period, the urbanized period, 1900 to 1300 BC. Spread of the civilization. This spread of the map showing the sites of Indus Valley civilization and their extension, how it spread over. Early farming community, 4000 to 3200 BC. The C14 dates and cultural materials clearly suggest that the first agricultural community of the upper Saraswati basin was contemporary to the early Baluchi cultures. The earliest C14 dates of the first agricultural community come from site of Bhirana, which I just told you, 7570 to 7180 BC, 6689 to 6201 BC, and 6200 to 5850 BC. The C14 dates of Kalibanga, Rakhigadi, Kunal, and Giravard also belong to the 5th and 4th millennium BC. Micro geometric tools, microliths, ring stone of the Neolithic traditions, pestles, pounders, and rubbers were recovered from early farming community settlements in the region. The excavations of Kunal, Birana, Farmana, and Girawad show the introduction of first agriculture-based community in the region. Settlement pattern, it was noticed that these dwelling pits had post holes in their peripheries. The presence of superstructure made up of either wood or grass. The presence of hearths, charred bone, ash, floor, crucibles, copper, ceramics, and semi-precious antiques were found in these pits. These clearly of the fact that these pits were of multi-purpose. This is the dwelling complexes of the site of Kunal, where you can see how these complexes were shown here. Another dwelling complexes of Barana. Dwelling complexes of the site at Famana, pit dwelling complexes at the site of Girwad. Now, what is very important is the economic activities. The archaeobotanical evidence from Kunal has shown that these people had sufficient knowledge of agricultural activities. They were the first cultivators of wheat, barley, and rice in the region. First time the people settled in the upper Saraswati basin cultivated hulled barley and lentils. Kunal 1A, we are getting these evidences. Smelting technique and trade can be seen during this period. People used terracotta objects, chert, fans, steatite, chalcedony, carnelian agate, and lapis lazuli, which we have found in during excavations. These are the ceramic potteries which you are seeing here, the ceramic assemblages and their characteristic features of the advanced village society is seen here. Advanced village society, the agricultural practices, you can see good residential structures, we can see fortified towns, high quality techniques, trade and communications, the presence of writing, presence of weights and measures, use of seals and sealings. The advanced village society Siswal culture can be divided into two phases, Siswal A and Siswal B. Siswal A is early Siswal and Siswal B is late Siswal. The advanced village key sites, advanced village society is also one of the very important at Kalibanga, Mathal, Banawali, Siswal, and other places. Next. The structural activities of this period demonstrate a transformation from pit dwelling complexes to fortified town planning. People of this period used mud bricks structure for living purposes for the first time. It is significant to note that the evidence of circular pits in the natural soil and mud brick structures above the ground are found in the period. The structural activities reached in the advanced stage and provided a foundation for town planning of the Harappan civilization. The evidence of compound complexes, planned, fortified towns, well-laid streets, and a well-planned drainage system have been also noticed in this period. The houses had a courtyard with a few rooms, cooking place, circular mud corn bin, and cylindrical pits, etc. And were made of standard size 1:2:3 mud bricks. The period played an important role in the improvement not only of settlement system but also in the refinement of the cultural material, agricultural equipment, manufacturing industry, and trade and communications. So this advancement was seen. Ceramics, the ceramic assemblages of this period have characteristic shapes, paintings, and fabric. Most of the ceramic assemblages comprises of red ware. In addition, the grey ware and buff ware were also recovered in usual ranges. The ceramic is well fired. It was very well navigated clay. The ceramic shows its advancement during this period. Those are wheel made with some appearance of handmade. Most of them are medium to thin in fabric. A red and chocolate slip can be found painted with black color. White color has also been used, but only in rare occasions. Ceramic assemblages of advanced village society, you can see here the advancement in this as we have discussed. Economic activities, that was also very important in this urbanization system. The agricultural practices taken up by people during this period include ploughed field, good agricultural equipment was seen, a system of seasonal cropping pattern, spring and autumn harvested, use of good quality seeds, and a well-developed irrigation system, the evidence of ploughed field and terracotta model of plough, and a good number of circular storage pits and corn bins reveal a significant legacy. This period also indicates a surplus production system. Barley and wheat were the main crops of this period. In addition, rice, green gram, horse gram, watermelon, common vetch, raspberry, harbor, and melon were also recovered from this period. Settlements. A large scale increase in the settlement of the advanced village society can be seen in the vicinity of Yamuna River and Aravali Hills. The boundary used by the advanced village society people provided a perfect place for settlements. Therefore, the same has been utilized by the people of the urbanized civilization. One of the important aspects of this period was the beginning of multiple settlements, that is, towns, villages, both big and small, traders' camps, factory and burial sites, the fortified town. Agricultural and manufacturing activities are also indicative of the origin of special class. The creation of female figurines, mother goddess, animal figurines, and burial activities throw light on the religious and philosophical aspects. It laid the foundation of magnum creation of an ideal socio-economic structure. Urbanized period, that is 2600 to 1900 BC, the period represents a unity of all the diverse cultural material and other elements from the earlier period. It was a golden time for an advanced village society, and all the conditions favored a period of growth and development. Major qualities found in all regional cultures, Dam, Sadat, Amri, Nal, Kodiji, Sothi, Siswal, Anartha, Padri, and Pre-Prabhas, etc., came together during this period and helped in the construction of an urbanized civilization. Urban cities, towns, and big villages increased during this period. Urbanization became common and population increased. Urbanization became common Most of the structures were made of mud bricks. Burnt bricks were used only in the bathing platform and drainage canals. However, In some cases, the burnt bricks were used at large scale for construction of living structures in the metropolis city, as seen at the site of Rakhigarhi. The structures have a number of rooms, different shapes and sizes, which were used for living, cooking, and storage purposes. The bricks, which were utilized at the standard ratio 1:2:4, belonging to this period. Nevertheless, this situation was different in village settlements, and most probably, village was not well planned. Here we have the plan of Surkotata village, the site plan of Lothal in Gujarat. Both are in Gujarat and Kathiawad, very important Harappan urban settlement.